Hey everybody, Jesse Nyberg here. Welcome back to the channel. And today, like the title says, the video is going to be all about design contracts and invoicing. So I wanted to make this video because I've heard a lot more talk about these things in the communities I'm in around design lately. And it kind of took me a while to get the hang of these things during my time in college. So I wanted to put out a video to help people out and as well as like share the knowledge that I've gathered on this subject over the years. So basically in this video, we're just going to be going over my InDesign template. I'm going to link that in the description for you guys to download. Super easy. You could just change out all the text and everything. And then we're going to go over that, pretty much how I handle pricing and dealing with clients and like just protecting yourself and the client from any issues down the road. Then we're going to also be going over Wave apps, which is software I use to do like accounting, bookkeeping, and just basic invoices and things like that. That's been really helpful. So if this video is helpful to you, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know in the comments if there's anything that you do when it comes to client work and any best practices you've kind of gathered over the years. And with that being said, we're going to head over into InDesign and take a look at the contracts. So just to go over this quickly, how I do this is I have my name up here. You can put your logo, whatever kind of brand like fonts you use and things like that. And then I usually highlight it with like my kind of brand identity orange. So feel free to switch that out. So right here, basically I would put the client and company name. And that would be, you know, if they don't have a name, if it's just an independent person, you can put their name there too. And then I'll put the date. So February 9th, 2021, put whatever you want, obviously whatever the day is going to be there, and then you want to have your name, client name, and then project description. So for the sake of the template in this video, I did a logo design and album art. And all these rates and things are kind of arbitrary. They're not exactly like what I do, but just wanted to give you a general example. So scope of work, this is where I kind of outline basically what I will be doing, all the deliverables the person will get, and then in the next area I go over the timeline of how long each of those stages of the project will take. So this is an important little piece right here. All prices are baseline prices. Additional fees may be applied. These fees cover the design, not the production cost. So, you know, let's say you're creating a business card or a poster or a website and they need to buy hosting, domain, print materials. Your fee is not all comprehensive, and it doesn't cover like whatever production they have to be doing. Because I mean, most people know that these days, but it's always helpful to throw that in there. And then I say baseline prices because you want to set up an agreed amount of revisions. That way you can reference back to the contract if you've already done 5 revisions and that was your limit, that each one after that will be an extra charge. And you'll see that later down. So right here you have vector logo design in all file formats. So I'll pretty much give the person the AI, SVG, EPS, JPEG, PNG, whatever they need. And so for this, it's vector logo design, and then 2 to 3 drafts up front and 1 final revision upon review with designer and client. So basically, I'll create like 2 to 3. Sometimes I'll create 1 if I'm really confident on it and I felt like me and the client had a good understanding of what we were going for. And so, but then after the review, I'll do another refinement stage to kind of take that concept they chose, break it out into like maybe 1 or 2 more options. And then from there, if it's good to go, it's good to go. If not, I'll do 1 more. And depending on the price and their budget, sometimes I'll give people a big discount if like the less revisions are going to be required, or vice versa. You know, if they're paying a lot, you kind of probably have to deal with some more revisions and things. So then we'll review, that'll be good to go. And this is kind of a 2-part project for the example. So album cover art design. So we'll do the logo first, then the album cover art. And so timing, this is an important part because you want the client to be able to know how long each phase is going to take. And I usually give myself more time, like 5 weeks may be long for just a logo design at your time. But You want to give yourself enough time that way in case anything does come up, and you know how life can throw a wrench in some of your shit sometimes. So you want to be able to protect yourself that way. After the contract sign and the first payment is received, we'll begin the process. So this timing doesn't start when I send the contract. It signs when the 50% upfront is paid and the contract is signed. That way, you know, they're not sitting on it for a week in email and that week goes wasted. So we'll have sketching, ideas, mood boarding. You probably have already done that maybe in the earlier stage for the mood board and went through something with the client. The next week, initial ideas, then the final logo, album art. You basically just want to break it down, whatever the project is. And so pricing, this is everyone's favorite part. Obviously, you want to make money. So $1,500 for this project, let's say, 50% up front and the rest upon completion. So if you get to decide this project on your own terms, that's usually my preferred way. Basically half, and then the other half will be at the end. And then I'll show you later in the video, I use this software called Wave to do invoicing and payments and things. And then each extra revision after second is an additional $75. So that number isn't really fixed. I'll change it depending on, like, if the project's a really like low budget project, it may not be 75 if the entire project's only a few $100s, you know? And then down here on the contract, I basically have, you want to have your website, email, phone number. Phone number is kind of maybe a personal preference. You might not want everyone having it, but it's always good to be there. And so the next page, it kind of follows the same header and like subheading. I just let that go throughout the entire document. This is where kind of the more like legal stuff comes in, and there's a lot of good resources online for like AIGA and a few other places, and I'll link them in the description that can help you craft one of these like more legal documents. And I kind of used that and a few other sources and came up with this one. The work, client requests designer to create all that is specified under pricing of the proposal. Work includes the final deliverable art and not any preliminary work or sketches. Payment, 50%. And then you want to I put within 14 days of the receipt. And then basically with the invoice, 30, 45, and 60 days from the original invoice. Basically what the second part is the payment, 50% up front, 50% at the end, and setting days like net 30, net 45, net 60, where each time you cross those thresholds, if the client still hasn't paid yet, it's like a late fee. So estimates, this is saying that this entire project is all estimated and there may be more charges if you go over a crazy amount of revisions. You're granting rights to yourself to use the work in your portfolio. This is an important one because you always want to, you might not always be able to use the logo on like social media or just like blast it everywhere because the client wants it to be like more private. But if you can get this in there, it's really helpful. That way, unless you're locked under an NDA, you can have the logo in your portfolio and it'll help you get, other jobs or whatever it is, logo, album art. That's basically what this says right here too. Cancellation. So this one is pretty important. It's called like a cancel fee, kill fee. You can look up more online. There's a lot about that. Basically what this does is protects you from, you set a set fee. Mine is $200 for this project. So let's say I work on 1/3 of the project of $1,500, that would be $500. You may not get all that $500 because the person's like quitting on you or doesn't want to work anymore, but you want to implement a kill fee. That way, if they don't want to finish the project, you're not completely screwed, and that fee will pay to like kind of void everything and they can move on, you can move on, whatever. So this is basically just saying that the client agrees that they'll not be liable if anything happens to you or failure to perform or whatever. And then the 8 and 9, look up stuff a little bit more about this because it depends on your state. So in California, mine's kind of set up for that. So you may want to make sure if you're in Europe, Asia, or another state that all these rules still apply and everything. And then right here, just basic designer name, designer signature, client name, client signature. And what I do is I send this as I export this as a PDF. It's just file export, and then I take that PDF into Acrobat, and from there I just do the digital sign, send it to them, get it back. I'll usually print out a copy, throw it in a folder, and then also save a copy in a digital folder. So if this is helpful, please make sure you get the template in the description, and I hope it helps you out and gets you a better understanding of like client work and pricings and things. And so the next part here, I'm going to be showing you the app I use for invoicing. So every contract, you know, is paired with the invoice. So we'll go here, waveapps.com, your account. Let me just get into the account. So type in my information and all that. Okay, so this app is really cool because it has not only invoicing capabilities, but it has like accounting. You can hook up your banking to it. I use it for taxes as well because I check like how much I'm spending, things like that, and just kind of personal finance app. All like it's like calling it all inclusive with that stuff. But the main one you're gonna wanna do is you go over to this left sidebar once you get your account set up, and you go to sales, invoices. And so see, these are just some past invoices, and then I usually number them, and it keeps them all organized so you can go back and you have the proof. You have it for your 1099 for your taxes, and you have it for basically like if you ever need to reference it or see that you haven't been paid or you have been paid. And just a random quick tip, if you're working as a freelancer, my rule of thumb, at least living in California and in the United States, I usually try to save around 30% of whatever the income is from the project. That way I'm not owing a bunch of money in taxes and I have it all covered and I just put it away. And if you're interested in hearing more about stuff like taxes and just like personal finance within like freelancing and self-employment, let me know in the comments and I can probably work on another video for that. All right, so from here, you want to go on the top right, create an invoice, and let's say this will be your first one. This is where you add a customer, so you'll have different customers that you've used in the past, and then you can just type it in, and if you need to create a new one that's new to this, the customer will be YouTube. And then this stuff, you might not need shipping and things. That'll be more for if like you're sending physical products or you need it for checks or anything. You'll save that there. And this will start you out normally at invoice-00001. And then from there on, it'll keep track and go to the next one, and so on. And so here you'll put the date of the invoice. So you'll create that date will be the date that you created on the contract. And then the payment due date is when it's due. And usually you'll do the 50%. So I'll usually create the invoice for 50%, send that over. And then the next due date will be at the end of the project. Okay, so and then right here, this is pretty cool. You just add the item. So let's say logo design. And if you broke it into different parts, you know, you can write a little description, vector files, all rights to client. The quantity is kind of irrelevant for like design work unless it's like 50 social posts or whatever. Let's say the price, let's say you split it up where it was, the project was 1,500 and you did the logo for, you know, 800. And then you did the next part would be, then you did the album art. So created in Photoshop or whatever description you want to write for it. And let's say you did the album art for 700. And it shows you the total right here. So then you have $1,500 total. You can choose which type of currency it is depending on where you are. I'm pretty sure this will auto generate if you have like location services on and things. And then the notes, you know, maybe you put the terms like very important from your contract, or you can put just anything really, like have a nice day, or thank you for your thank you for this like opportunity, or thanks for working with me. You know, it's always good to like be respectful and nice to the clients, because without them, you're not making any money, and without you, they're not getting the designs they need. So it's good to have like a mutual respect for each other. Once you do that, you're going to go save and continue, and then it'll tell you this is a draft, blah, blah, blah. You'll kind of go over it, and you can brand this more if you want in the settings and things. I know a lot of people like to do their own invoices in like InDesign or Illustrator, and I think that that's good for like making a super branded invoice, but I personally like this because it keeps track of it better, and it gives them links, and it'll remind them to pay without you having to go in and email like, hey, where's my money, or on Instagram DM or whatever. So that's always pretty nice to have the AI just send it out for you, and you can kind of cower away and design shit. So you're gonna approve the draft, and then you can set reminders for the due date like I was just talking about. And then what I do is, so you can do credit card, record a pay. So let's say you're going to be sending them it to charge through a card. That's the way, but other people may have their own ways of kind of doing things. So record a payment manually. Let's say you'll write in your notes, paid through Zelle, paid through PayPal, paid through Venmo, whatever you're using, cash. That way you can kind of set this down and record that it's been paid and everything, and write it in the notes, like on the date and like what type of payment they gave you. And you can keep track of it even if it wasn't done through their exact like way of charging people through Wave. And so that's what I usually do. There's a ton of options for that. I like using Zelle. If you're working with like a lot bigger company and it's like an over a $500 thing, they may have you sign a W-9, and that's for their tax purposes, and they may have their own contract. So you gotta kind of keep your stuff synonymous with theirs and just see like how important it is to you to work with that through their terms or your terms or whatever it may be. If you have any questions about this app, like let me know in the comments and I'll try to answer them. And you can definitely go check out all their FAQ and everything. Wave's something I'm a little bit newer to, but I've been using it the past year or so, and I've really liked it. Rather than creating my own PDF invoices, it just makes the process a lot more seamless, and it keeps track of it well. You can print the PDF, send them over that way. What I usually do is I'll save the PDF out of their site, and then I'll just send it over. And then if it's through Zelle, I'll be like Zelle and give them my information. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all the support. If you want to support any further, you can get exclusive content, tutorials, print assets, and things on the Patreon. That's in the description. The description will also have the contract template, the Discord community, all that good stuff. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.